terms of countries that are major commodity exporters, it's actually not that easy to find obvious success stories. It's much easier to find countries where it introduces a number of problems, and you've identified one at the end there in terms of Venezuela. I think the risks are really twofold, and these are the ones that most countries kind of fall into. One is what, if you haven't read your economics textbook in a while, what economists refer to as Dutch disease. So when there's a large inflow of foreign currency into a country, and this pushes up the exchange rate, so you get an exchange rate appreciation, and this undermines the competitiveness of the non-commodity sector if the exchange rate is not pegged or fixed. So if you have a floating exchange rate and you have an exchange rate appreciation, the rest of the economy in terms of international competitiveness will suffer. I mean, one potential response to that is obviously the creation of a sovereign wealth fund, which can siphon off to some degree the money as it comes into a country, and so that it doesn't enter the real economy in that respect and avoid an exchange rate appreciation. But then that leads you to really the second big risk, which I think is evident in a number of countries, and that surrounds the whole question of governance. And governance with either sovereign wealth funds or commodity sectors more generally. When we see governance problems, you generally, to find where they are most obvious, you simply need to follow the money. And if the money is in the commodity sector, then that certainly leads itself to challenges in governance. So examples of countries that have done well. You mentioned one already. I think that for an emerging market, the one that stands out for us has to be Chile. In terms of, we have it rated A+, which is a high credit rating. It's the highest rating in Latin America, and that is not because Chile is a commodity exporter. It is what has happened with the funds that are generated from that, and the improvements in the continued strength of governance. So the governance in Chile is at a different level, we believe, than many other countries in the region and relative to a number of other commodity exporters. So I would say Chile is a very good example of, for the most part, getting it right and over an extended period of time. If you broaden that out to look at advanced economies, I suppose Norway is the most obvious example, fully transparent in terms of its sovereign wealth fund. We often hear that sovereign wealth funds need to be kept secret. They let us know exactly what they're invested in, and you can almost follow the numbers on a daily basis. So I leave you with those sort of two examples at different ends of the development, well, not different ends of the development spectrum, but different ends of the emerging market, one from the emerging market world and one developed. As I said, it's easier to find countries with challenges than countries that have succeeded, but there certainly are countries, a couple of that have succeeded.